Hey y'all, I'm Melissa, and today we are going to be doing the eyeshadow tag that's been going around the internet, the YouTubes. It was made by Samantha March and Allie Glines in a collab that they did about a month or so ago. And I'm a little late to the party, but it took me a while to kind of come up with what I wanted to put as my questions to pull out as my tags or prompts. I also wanted to get some videos out for you guys of some of the new releases, so I'm finally getting to it and I'm pretty excited about what I pulled out. Hopefully y'all like it, and I guess we'll just go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so the first prompt or tag is, what is your newest palette? And my newest palette is the e.l.f. Retro Paradise palette. I just did a video on it on my channel reviewing this and the whole, or most of the lines. There was a couple of things that I didn't grab. I really enjoyed playing with it. I think that it worked pretty well. I've seen some reviews that they had a little hard time with some of the shimmers, blending some stuff out, but I didn't have any issue with the shimmers, the shades that I use. I haven't had a chance to play with it much more. So that is my newest palette. Next is my oldest palette, which is actually a newer, older palette. I actually bought another one. This is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. And I really love this palette. The shimmers are really pretty in here, and the mattes are just wonderful. I love playing with this palette. So I love the Too Faced palette. So the Too Faced Chocolate Bar is my oldest palette. The next prompt is, what is your most expensive palette? Now, my most expensive, I just got at the Sephora sale this spring, and it is the Natasha Denona Love palette at $65. That's what it looks like on the inside. And it is just beautiful. The mattes, they just blend out gorgeously. The shimmers just look gorgeous. I love Natasha Denona's formula. So I'm thinking about the bronze palette, but I'm not sure yet. So if I got that, technically, you know, that would be my most expensive because I'd actually be paying full price for it. But I'm not sure if I'm going to get it yet, but we'll see. So the Natasha Denona palette, Love palette, is my most expensive. So my most affordable palette would be the e.l.f. Bite Size little quads. Is it going to focus on it? Alright. So the little 4 quad is my least expensive, and I got all of them, I think, and so they are my least expensive. I really enjoy the formula. The ones that I've used, I've heard some people say that they've had trouble with some of them, but the ones that I've tried out so far have worked fine with me. I've actually enjoyed them more than some of my high-end palettes. So I also did a video on these on my channel. I think I used a couple of them to make a look, and I also did a one brand tutorial and used the green one. So I really I like that look. So I know the green one works well, but yeah, that's my most affordable palette. The next tag is your everyday palette. And my everyday palette is the ABH Soft Glam palette. I really enjoy this palette. And I know you're like, well, it's not even dirty. Well, I keep mine very, very clean. I clean mine off quite a bit after I use them every time. I'm kind of anal about that. So I really, really enjoy this palette. Even with the kickback, even with the fallout, I love the formula. I love the mattes. I love the shimmers. The shimmers are just gorgeous. I love it, love it, love it. So this is my everyday palette. Next is my most colorful palette, and that would be the ABH Riviera palette. And this one I haven't used. I got this one with because I didn't buy it when it came out, the Jackiana palette, I believe, and I used it, and I haven't tried this one out yet. I really need to, but I mean, I've heard that it's just like all of her other palettes, so I'm pretty excited to get into it. I might actually do a video with this one, since it's kind of a summery palette. I might do that and get a look out of this one. So the ABH Riviera palette is my most colorful palette. Next is my smallest palette, which that would be my e.l.f. Bite Size palettes, are my smallest palettes. So, and we've already talked about those. I didn't want to double up, but if I'm being honest, these are my smallest palettes and my most affordable. So the next is my biggest palette, and that's the ColourPop So Jaded. And that's what she looks like. And I love this palette. I love the greens and all the different jewel colors, the kind of mustardy yellow, this turquoise, and the blues, like the glitters, the shimmers. I love this palette. I've used it multiple times and made some gorgeous looks out of this. So I also have a video of this palette on my channel as well. Check it out because it turned out really well. It was a really pretty green look. Alright, so next tag is Best Memory. And Best Memory for me, I actually have two. And one of those is the Sigma Warm Neutral palette. If it'll focus. There we go. And the Sigma Enchanted palette. There we go. And that's what the Sigma Enchanted palette looks like. And the reason why these are the best memory is because my husband actually surprised me by buying these for me when he knew that I really wanted them. He saw it on one of Allie Glein's videos and he wanted to get it for me, get the Sigma Enchanted palette. And then he saw the Warm Neutrals and bought that along with it. So that's the first and only palette, other than, you know, just being with me and being like, yeah, go ahead and get it. That's pretty. That's the only palette that he's ever surprised me and bought me just on his own. So I was pretty excited about that. So this is the Warm Neutrals and the Enchanted are my best memory. And the next prompt is Worth the Hype, and this actually has been hyped up recently by multiple YouTubers that I watch at least, and I definitely believe that is worth the hype, and that's the Sigma Corda Rosa palette. and it is just gorgeous. I love it. Just the golds and the pinks and even the browns that are in here, and this Bella the Ball shade that's just like a pinky silvery shimmer. I love this palette. I definitely think that the Sigma Corda Rosa is worth the hype. And next, for not worth the hype, I don't technically have the palette on me. It's in my house, but I actually gave it to my daughter, and that would be any of the Morphe palettes. I just feel that Morphe, they had good quality at one time, but it's just like any of the newer palettes, it seems like that I've tried anyways, just aren't as good of quality. I mean, it's great if you're first starting out, you know, having a bunch of colors to play with, but I've kind of gotten out of the Morphe realm and onto the super expensive Natasha Denona and AVH and all of that. I just think Morphe is just not worth the hype. Next is a favorite palette from a favorite brand. And right now, my favorite brand is ColourPop, but the favorite palette right now is Going Coconuts. I actually used it today to do my look, and I definitely think this is my favorite palette from a favorite brand. And I used the Lovely Bunch right here, and then I use this to deepen out my outer corner, and then I use the middle shimmer on my inner corner, and Palm Reader this as an inner corner highlight. So I'm definitely digging the Going Coconuts right now. It might change next month, but right now Going Coconuts is my favorite palette from ColourPop, which is a favorite brand. Next, most used would be the ABH Sultry palette. I've been using this quite a bit lately, which again you can't tell because I clean it all up after I'm done. So this is actually my most used right now. I really enjoy this palette. I actually haven't had it super duper long, but I found this one on Beauty Bay and snatched it up before it was gone. But I love playing with the shimmers, are just gorgeous, and the mattes obviously are gorgeous, just like any ABH palette. So yep, this is the one that I've been playing with the most. This is my most used. And there's two more that Jessica Braun had added to the tag, and the first one was the most underrated, and I think that the Sigma palettes are underrated, even though like they've been getting a lot of hype lately. It seems like it'll get a lot of hype right after it's been released, and then you don't hear anything about it. So, and I really think that the Sigma palettes aren't anything to sleep on whatsoever. So I definitely think that any of the Sigma palettes are underrated. The limited edition are no longer available or sold. The only one that I have right now is the Sultry palette. So that was the last of what everybody that I've seen has put for tags. So I hope that you enjoyed the video and you enjoyed my answers to the eyeshadow palette tag. If you did, hit the like button. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. I love for you to become a part of the family. Also, ring the bell so that you'll be notified whenever I post a video. I try to post at least a couple of times a week, but a lot of times I post more than that because I just kind of post as I get things done. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and I guess I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, y'all.